22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Black Westchester Magazine presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. Yo, real quick before I get into everything, we got a lot of things going on, busy show today. I want to give a shout out, yo. You know, there's very few people that I meet. I've interviewed a lot of people, some of the biggest stars and everything. But yesterday I got to chill with the one and only Mr. Frank Serpico. Yo, I was really impressed to be around Frank Serpico, like for real, like, you know what I mean, 81 years old and still kicking it. Basically, the black law enforcement showed their support for Kaepernick, and this is the shirt. I'm with Cap. You know what I'm saying, that they all had on yesterday. No. Somebody else asked that question too. But and one of the most telling things that Serpico said, I'm tired of people using the expression criminal cop. You are either a good cop or you're a criminal in a uniform. There's no such thing as a criminal cop. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, I'm going to bite that, and you're going to see that in one of my editorials real soon. But, yeah, we got to see it. We right outside the Brooklyn Bridge. It was really great. New York City Councilman, I never pronounced his name right. Yes, there you go. Thank you very much. Yes, he was there representing, of course, you know, Damon, you know, he did his thing. Corey Pegues, you know, once a cop, he did his thing. It was a beautiful thing. So anyway, without further delay, we're going to get right into the show. Of course, I am your host, AJ Woodson. Damon K. Jones, Black by Popular Demand, is still on hiatus, but should be back soon. We do have the lovely Lorraine Lopez, our co-host in the house. And as a guest, our first guest is the Honorable Councilman Andre Wallace from Mount Vernon.
Hey.
Oh, you switch my things on me. Close that. There we go. All right, man, it was blocking my screen. I couldn't find my applause.
That was a late applause, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna go right into the show. Also, we do have the 4 candidates. You've seen them individually that are running for the 16th District County Legislator seat, which is currently Ken Jenkins' seat. Ken Jenkins is running for a county exec. He has a primary against George Latimer. The 4 candidates that are running for that seat, we've had them individually. They will be here for, you know, people before politics version of a debate. You know, we don't do things the way everybody else do it, so, you know, we're going to hold it down. We're going to try to do a little something. So they're here. They're waiting in the wings. But right now, we have Andre Wallace, and he's here to announce last year was the first year that rapper Khan, DJ Khan, came uptown to Mount Vernon. Yep. They had such a good time, they decided they wanted to do it again. And this time it's going to be bigger and better. And Andre, take it away.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just want to let everybody know, how big it's going to be. So this year we added some extra stuff in there. We got the classic car Spitting in My Whip going on. We're going to be shooting the 375th episode for the 10th year anniversary. We got the longest electric slide line going on in the history of Mount Vernon. We got the battle of the sound systems as well on top of that. It's going to be Cold Crush Brothers versus the Collin Brothers.
Say that one more time, because I don't think everybody heard it. The Cold
Crush Brothers versus the Collin Brothers. And it's
Bronx
so
legends against Mount Vernon legends.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, I'm hearing the trash talking going back and forth. It's so funny, too, because I just saw Tony Tone, and he was telling me to tell the Collin Brothers and stuff, wherever they renting their stuff from, to leave it where it's at.
Oh,
you know?
boy.
So I'm hearing a lot of different stuff. He told me to pass that
I heard
message.
the Grand Man is supposed to show up.
Oh, yeah, Grand Wizard Theodore. He'll be back.
Grandmaster Caz. I'm talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
the Grand Man.
A lot of folks are showing up. Melly Mel's showing up.
Melly Mel.
Yeah, we got it.
Just for the record, the three people who inspired me to rap, to pick up the microphone professionally, was Kumo D in the early years before Treasure Street. Kumo D, Grandmaster Caz, and Melly Mel. Those were the three that inspired me to and I met Melly Mel on a subway. I tell the story all the time. I met Melly Mel on the number 2 train. Back then, the last car, you used to be able to smoke, drink, whatever. They would leave you alone in the last car. Yeah. So you know, we
you remember that too?
We doing our little smoking thing and everything, and you know, I'm rapping. I'm feeling myself, and I walk up to Melly Mel and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna rap too. I'm gonna be making records with you one day. I'm gonna be doing shows with you." So he said, "Spit a rhyme," and I'm like, "Oh." So you know, now you know we in the last car. You can't clown. You gonna get clowned. So I threw the best thing I could do. I don't even know what it was. And the Mel was like, "Yo, that was dope." And everybody hated me for the next 3 months because every rhyme I ever did, and I know I'm dope because Melly Mel says so. That's like I ended every rhyme with that. Like everybody hated me for that. So that was my little Melly Mel moment. Like before I got into the game, like when they was first getting in the game. Yeah. So
this year's gonna be hot too, man, because we got a lot of DJs and a lot of MCs coming through. You know, we had more than we can bear, so we had to cut off a bunch of them. But they'll be coming through anyway, though. You know, and we have 3 panels going on, and the panels that we have is one is being held by DJ Theodore, Grand Wizard Theodore.
Okay.
His panel's gonna be on the 1977 blackout and the effect it had on the community. Right?
Oh.
In hip hop.
Wow.
So
that's when everybody got equipment the next day. That's like there was only certain. I remember.
So you did it, right?
Yeah. Before then, there was only certain crews that had equipment, and after the blackout, all crews started. Everybody had equipment the next day.
Everybody was DJ.
Yeah, everybody had DJ. Yeah.
That's a fact. So you know, don't miss that one. So that's gonna be hot. And then you know we got Andre Leroy. He's gonna be displaying his art.
Another good friend of mine. We work together at the Source.
Yeah, and his artwork on hip hop because he's one of the leading people in hip hop on that.
He used to do the last word in every Source magazine.
Yep. And you know he draws for Marvel also.
Right. He told me we talked.
Yeah, so he's gonna be out there doing sketches for the kids and you know signing autographs and all of this stuff and artwork for the kids.
Oh, Dre. So, yeah. I need to talk to you, Andre.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the show, I'm talking. I need a picture. He gave me pictures for Black Westchester to use. I haven't used all of them yet. Gave me pictures of the Locks. He gave me all my Westchester artists. He gave me a picture of Pooba Snacks. Pooba. I'm supposed to do like the top 10 Pooba Snacks, like his best records. And I got the drawing to use, but I never used it yet. But I need a big pun for my Hispanic Heritage Month issue for the print. So if you can listen to me, I'll hit you online. I need a big pun picture, dope big pun picture for the September issue of Black Westchester.
I'm sure
he has one. He just got to get it. Yeah, he already got one.
And if not, he could just draw it up in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He's that dope, you know.
Word up.
So we got that going on, and you know we included stuff for the seniors this year too. You know, with the biggest electric slide line in all of Mount Vernon history in Westchester. So we're gonna have. I
got talked into being a sponsor on that.
Yeah,
by Kurt, by the one and only Kurt. He was like, yeah, you got this. You can sponsor it. Yeah.
So everybody gonna be out there doing electric
slide. Shout out to Kwame
well.
Veer from WCHR City College Radio. I think I forgot 90.3. I forgot what the number is. He's doing the radio panel.
Yes.
And he called me and asked me to be on the radio panel. So I will be. I don't know what time that is, but I will be on the radio panel.
Well, you can go to Rapicon com.
Okay.
Folks could go over there, and you could on there you could sign up to be be able to get a spot for DJing, for MCing, for different things. Plus, you could see the whole rundown of the schedule of events for that whole day. So it's gonna be nice, Plus, especially I'm excited about the spitting in the whip, because we got some classic cars, 3 classic cars that's gonna be out there.
That's what's up.
They're putting together the different music that goes in the cars. So when you get up there, if it's just like if I was gonna rap against you, AJ, and it's me against you, we gotta pick a car. And then we get in that car. We don't know what beat's gonna play.
Oh.
And when the beats start in that
rapping.
car, you gotta be able to flow, and you gotta be able to beat my flow. So you don't know what is gonna play in any one of the cars at any time.
That's
so
right.
you gotta step in the car.
That's old school. That's classic.
Old school.
That's the old
And then
school.
we got a lot of the freestyle stuff going on. There's gonna be awards, and this is for the TV show. So we will be filming the TV show out there that day. So the winner will be on the TV show, and we'll be getting awards and all kind of other stuff. And it's gonna be nice.
Quick couple of shout outs. My man Craig D. Frazier, Caitlin Gleason, Hector Santiago, Judge Adrian Armstrong, and real quick on the story, me and Damon spoke at the Mount Vernon High School career day, and his daughter was one of the kids we influenced.
Wow.
And he sent us an email, and she's going to Pace University, and she's writing for the Pace paper, and she just sent us an article for the September issue. So I was just I was happy. But
oh, nice.
John R. Jones said, "All right, AJ, I'm here. Have a great show." Hector said it's going to be a great show. Shout out to the Westchester.
Yes.
Correctional
Hector's gonna be out there also doing the stop and shake, and making sure that
Caitlin said
people
there's
pass out
sponsorships available.
Caitlin, there's always sponsorships available. Come on, bring over some breakfast for some of the crews and some of the panels and some drinks and water and all kind of stuff like that, and have a good time. And Caitlin, make sure you get your sneakers so you can get on the electric slide line and the cha-cha line and all of that kind of stuff. So be a part of history while we filming that too.
And Hector laughing at the thing I said about everybody having equipment the next day.
Yeah, well, it's true. It's true. I remember that. You had everything you wanted. Christmas came in 1977.
Oh, hell yeah. People, and it was just like, yo, I got turntables in this, and you got a system, and we formed a crew. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we put our pieces together.
All the crews popped up that day. You were absolutely
there
right.
There was like 3 crews. There was like 3-4 crews, and then there was like 20. Like, it was just like, where the hell did you come from? Like, yeah.
And I remember that too. I never forget I was around that time, and I've watched people run down the street with shopping carts full of stuff, man. I was like, wow. And the next day I seen people with new clothes that ain't never had no clothes before. It was just Christmas in the year 77, man.
Shout out to Simone Combs, that's Patty's sister. David Duarte's on the check-in. Dion Maffrey, I'm not sure if I pronounced your name right, but hello. And everybody else who was tuned in. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so we're looking to have a good time, man. It's gonna be great. And just let me tell you something. Tony Tone and the Cold Crush Brothers said they coming with a size equipment that you will be able to hear them at 241st Street.
Oh, that's what's up.
But then the Collin brothers said you're going to hear them in White Plains. So, so it's going back and forth. And it's going to be judged by some of the other guys on clarity, on sound system, on the size of the sound system, on the bass. It's a check-off list and all of that stuff. So it's going to be nice on the volume. So
I just want to say one thing about last year. Last year it was November. It was cold. It was actually one of the warmer days of November.
We had a perfect day.
We had a perfect day.
Where is it at?
Where you met me on First Street. When you met me and Damien in the van, I'll show you.
For the audience.
I'll show you. Oh, 28 East First Street.
Yeah, right.
The embassy on
First
First.
Street. Yep.
Yeah. So, it was a beautiful day, and I think the city refused to give up the stage or something. So we did it old school style from the street. And you know what I'm saying? There was the artist wasn't elevated. You know what I'm saying? It was on the street.
Yep.
And they killed it, and everybody came through. Everybody from all the different denominations, when I mean political part, they were all there chilling. There was no enemies that day. Like, everybody was, it was
it
peace.
turned out perfect. It turned out perfect. It couldn't have turned out better, and it was so funny too because the mayor refused to give us the stage. He was just like, "No, we ain't giving you the stage."
So is he allowing you to have the stage?
This year's a new thing. He said he ain't giving us no police officers. They ain't got no police officers for us. But it's all right though because I have private security that I hired to make sure, like last year, and
you got FOI. So what the mayor say again?
Yeah,
what did he say?
Nation of Islam.
What is he refusing to give you this year?
He refused to give us any police officers. Not only that, he tried to veto the legislation and said we can't have it on that day. Yeah. So I'm not paying him no mind though, you know. So we're gonna move forward. We got this all planned. It's already coming through. This date has been approved. We already got our
Can't stop
insurance
the
in
bum
place.
rush.
No, we ain't stopping it. You know. So if he wants us to come out there and tell all 1,000 people get off the street, he can. But ain't nobody gonna be listening. So let him stay on the other side of town, sliding down the city or something. So that's how I leave it.
Okay, so we have the debate stuff coming up, but
one
I
other thing,
wanted
too.
any last words, anything that you didn't names, anything places.
Well,
they can
I
find?
just want to big up and a shout out for the Nation of Islam, who's going to be doing some of the security
FOI.
too. FOI.
Shout out to Minister Hafiz.
Yeah, making
our
sure
newest
that all the people
columnist of Black Westchester.
Yep, making sure the people are safe. And we're going to have a great time. Only thing we got to worry about is weather, and I think the weather's going to be perfect, which, we got our fingers crossed, and, we're going to have a great time. You're going to be able to see the panels in the inside. You're going to be able to meet a lot of folks. We got everybody coming through. And you're going to be surprised. And I heard Pete Rock's coming through, so we got some hometown people. There's a lot of people that's going to be passing through. So I'm excited. I'm excited this year. And I just want to see, who wins spitting in the whip, I'm about, and just to let you know, I did not practice yet, but I will be leading it off. I'll be scratching first outside on one of the big stages. And people thought I didn't have skills last year, but I tore it up and they were shocked. So I'll be throwing on all the old jams and DJing, and kicking it off on the outside.
A little hip hop history.
That's hot.
Y'all, I heard there was a old school DJ. He used to always come by and borrow your turntables.
Yeah, there was a lot of people used to come through borrow our turntable. Remember, I've been
Was that Chase? Was it Chase?
Charlie Chase used to come to my
yeah.
house every time talking about we need the turntables. It was my brother's turntables. But we were in that. I've been around that era of hip hop since it started, because I tell people all the time, Kool Herc was my babysitter. When he came to this country, his family and my family, we were the only families that knew each other. Jamaican families, my father's, born in Cuba, my mother's Jamaican, so they were friends. And every time they went out and all, Herc was stuck with me, and he had to watch me. So until some of my other brothers started watching me, so we took turns. So I have to sit at his house, with his mom, and wait until my mom come home. So it was a family thing with that. So we grew up together. So I've been watching hip hop from when it started all the way through, and I was in the music business for a long time as well.
So you was going where we lived on Sedgwick Avenue? That's on the Sedgwick.
No,
before that.
He was on 177th Street.
Oh, before that.
Right up between Belmont and Clinton Avenue, down there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But it's
Down
been a
Bronx.
long time.
Shout out to all the hip hop legends. Shout out to all the.
I'm sure he gonna show up too. He gonna come through.
Because he showed up last year.
Yeah,
he had a couple of comments. He dropped the mic and he left.
Yeah, I know. I was like, listen, behave yourself. He gonna come and like Wallace, because it's so funny, man. I'm grown now, and he still think I'm like 6 years old.
It's funny.
Treat me like I'm 6.
And I take credit for it. So I seen him at Mangoville in New Rochelle. Me and Patty went through the Mangoville in New Rochelle. I had to shoot some of the pictures of the food for the Instagram. And I see him come in. They were like, they're closed. And I was like, yo, that look like Herc. So I went outside. I'm talking to him. And I'm like, yeah, Rappercon, this, that, and other. And he didn't call me? Oh, yo, did you got an angry call?
It's all your mom. And then I had to hear it from him, my brother, and it came from my brothers first, my older brothers, because they were like, yo, I ain't gonna say his regular government name, but it was like, yo, Herc looking for you.
Right.
I was like, what for? He said he wanted to talk to you, looking for you. Then my other brother called me, yo, yeah, Herc came by, he looking for you. I was like, what he looking for me for, Then when he finally found me, he was like, Wallace. That's what he called me. What wrong with you? And just went down the whole list. How you not gonna call me? I had to hear the whole speech.
And then he was already a little salty about what was the TV show that was on Netflix?
That was the one with DJ Flash.
Yeah, what was the
I can't think of the name right.
The breakdown.
What was it? The
break.
Man.
The break.
I can't remember. The
Anyway,
name.
he was mad that they didn't call him to ask him whatever, and they used his whatever, and all of them are carbon copies of me, and I was first, and I heard an earful that day.
He got into it with DST, and a couple others, but This year's gonna be nice. It's never any problem. So, well, I'm just saying, everybody come out. Remember, it's gonna be on the 26th next Saturday on First Street between 2nd and 3rd. So we'll be out there jamming from 12 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and then we have a big after party at 8 o'clock indoors, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And if everybody really want to see some real DJing and stuff, don't wait for Theodore, don't wait for Supreme, don't wait for. I'm gonna be up first. Make sure you see me, because I'm about to take some people
I'm
out.
going.
I know Theodore probably listening and laughing though. He's like, yeah, okay, Dre. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing my thing too. So I know I'm gonna beat some of the DJs. I guarantee that.
I just gotta be like my last voice has gotta be, we got this little civil war in City Hall, and it's just like things don't get done sometimes. I think that we should settle it all in a one-on-one rap battle between Andre Wallace and the mayor at Rapicon. Winner take all.
Man, let me tell you something. Honestly, if I go back into my garage and pull out some of the old joints, there ain't no way nobody gonna touch me in rap, and ain't nobody gonna touch me DJing.
I'm saying, but that's how we.
I haven't DJed in
but
like 20 years.
He's a little too young to understand that. But that's how we handled our problems back then.
Well, listen, we gonna get a cardboard box, man.
That's how we handled our problems. You got the rapping, you got the DJing, you got the breakdown. That's how we handled our differences, and then we kept it moving after that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
and that's
it would be interesting for the city of Mount Vernon, a one-on-one. I don't want to underestimate him, but I can't see him on the turntable. So I think since he liked to run his mouth, maybe he have a better chance in rap. So you know what I'm saying? So,
but yeah, one other thing too, we may have Sal from the Fever coming through.
Ooh,
and we're gonna be talking about the old days at the Fever.
Oh man,
and things like that as well. So we got a lot of stuff happening. It's gonna be nice. You're gonna be able to meet all the old school rappers and the new school rappers all together, all merged up all together. Just a big old thing of gumbo and having a good time on Saturday.
Shout out to April Brown and Juanita Lewis. Juanita, when you coming back up to the show, girl? When you coming back to the show? I want to check it. But yes, we'd like to thank Councilman Wallace. Any last words?
Just make sure you're there on Saturday. Have a good time.
Nice.
Plenty of food, fun, entertainment.
What's the time again?
It's going to be from 12 to 8, but really we break down in the street by 7 because I really don't like to stay out after dark anymore on that over there. And then we move into the after party on the inside and stuff where we have food, entertainment, and just mingling with everybody else, giving out some awards and all kind of things like that.
Now Rapicon, and you have one last thing, and I know your time is going. Rapicon is now, it started out like with this 24 hours of DJing nonstop. Like one DJ would DJ, and before he would get off, the next DJ would continue.
Yep.
And before he got off, the next DJ, and it was like 24. And then the next year they did 25. And
Yep.
I don't know what they got up, and I think they broke the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest DJ in set or whatever.
Wow.
And that's what Rapicon that was where Rapicon started or came from. So
Where did it start at though?
where was the first Rapicon? That's a good question.
In Philly.
In Philly, there you go.
I believe.
Shout out to Kurt. What's the last name? Kurt.
Sherrod. Curtis Sherrod.
Yeah, shout out to Kurt, the man behind the man with the plan behind the scene.
Yeah, so
word up.
I got my next stop to make, but it was a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. See you Saturday.
Out the door, and I will see you guys on Saturday. And plus, I'll see you because you a sponsor, so make sure you out there.
I'm a sponsor. I'm on the panel. Yeah.
Talking about. And
get me in trouble. I got a family gathering that day that I was threatened that I better be there, and I don't know how I'm being at both places. Well, I say, but I'm on a panel though. I gotta.
people were. I got a whole bunch of emails and all of that stuff saying that AJ was gonna bust out from his old record long time ago, 25 years ago, and he gonna do a rap also. So
I want to hear that.
Maybe we gonna get him in the whip
I don't know
and do some freestyle. So you better write something up. Boy.
I don't know if we gonna do all that, but yeah. I'm gonna leave it to the ones that still get down. Like
Matter of fact, I'm gonna play your record too. I'm gonna mix your record.
Now I have no problem with you playing it.
I'm gonna mix your record.
Play the record.
Yeah, I'll pull it out of the crate and I'm gonna play it for y'all.
All right, no doubt.
So I'm out of here. I'll see y'all.
No doubt. So yes, that was guest number one. That was the Honorable Councilman Andre Wallace from Mount Vernon. We are going to shift into debate mode. Black people before politics style. We have the candidates coming in one by one. I'm not sure if Nicole Benjamin's here, but she should be here by 6:30. Okay. She said she'd be here by 6:30. The candidates are setting up right now. But I just want to go back to like the the joint yesterday, man. Oh, and the other thing, it was great to meet. It was great to meet the legendary Sean King yesterday, who sat there, who represented, holding up the Black Westchester. Definitely a fan of his. He holds it down. Yo, you know how you think you reaching people? I had a very humbling experience yesterday. So you know everybody's talking about how many people we reaching and how good we doing, Chris. You know how much reach we having. Until I sat next to Sean King from the Daily News, who's down with Black Lives Matter, and he was going live from the thing yesterday and had 624,354 people watching live. I was like, oh, yeah, we got some work to do. like my reach is not like that yet. So, you know, it's kind of humbling a little bit. Like, that many people were watching live on his Facebook page of the event. Like, that's crazy. So, you know, we making moves, but we ain't there yet. You know what I'm saying? But that was my little humbling wake-up call. You know, make things like that so you don't get the big head. Word up. So, we had, of course, our brother Damon K. Jones, as always. He spoke. I'm trying to see if I can pull up that video real quick. It's not pulling up live. It's not pulling up. It's not pulling up. It's not pulling up.
What?
All right, so we'll go back to that. That's
it.
I wanted to show some of the pictures from yesterday. Okay, we have a lot of talking going on here. I'm trying to pay attention to what they're saying and what I'm doing. I'm like, yo, this is like it's that's the one thing about the beautiful thing about live radio. Like, there's always something going on. Okay, here's the pictures from yesterday. Black law enforcement standing for Kaepernick. They all took the knee, and you can only see the center. This line goes all the way over here and all the way over here. There were close to 100 black law enforcement, current and former law enforcement officers standing for Cap, and that's the New York City councilman that represents Brooklyn. That's brother Corey Begis, got the book Once a Cop. He spoke. Of course, our own Damon K. Jones. He spoke.
No, I don't know.
That's a councilman.
But he didn't forget.
And I'm trying to find one more picture. We don't have it in here. The legendary Frank Serpico. From back in the days that Al Pacino played him in the movie in the 70s. He hasn't been in the boroughs, the 5 boroughs. He's not really.
He's been hiding out.
Yeah,
right?
he hasn't been in the 5 boroughs in a very long time. And he said this Kaepernick situation was too big of a situation for him not to show his support. So after decades of not stepping foot in the 5 boroughs, he came through yesterday, and he had a lot to say. It was a beautiful thing. Shout out to the legendary Frank Serpico. It was good to meet him. And like I said early, I've interviewed everybody, Muhammad Ali, Pam Grier, everybody. I don't get starstruck, but it was just like, yo, that's Serpico. Like, I was like, yo, for real. It was a pleasure to meet him for a minute. So that's what. So we have, is everyone who's going to be here?
Nope.
Are we waiting for?
Simra Brandon.
Okay, is she on her way?
I tried calling her and her rep, and I can't
We
catch
will
her.
give them a few minutes, and then we will start with or without her.
Okay.
Yes. So welcome to the ones that are here. We'll switch screens real quick. We have, hey, Lorraine, introduce everybody.
But you were talking.
Now you can introduce everybody.
All right, we have the Honorable Christopher Johnson. We have Nicole Benjamin, and we have Carmen Gomez Goldberg here. All 3 of them running for the 16th county legislative seat in Yonkers.
Okay. The official people before politics. Round of applause. We're gonna do things. I don't know how your standard debate is, but I'm gonna start off with I'm gonna give everybody 2 minutes to introduce themselves, say whatever it is they want to say, their intro. I'm gonna throw a couple of questions, try to keep it like a minute to 2 minutes. If there needs to be a rebuttal and I approve that person, they will be given a minute to rebut, the situation. and we're going to try to keep it moving and keep it civilized and try to get as much in as possible so that the viewers, the voters, the residents can, hopefully make a educated decision when it comes to the ballot box on September 12th.
Well, yeah.
Yes. I want to thank all of you for advertising in the first edition of the Black Westchester, helping to make that possible. And to just let you know, there's still room left in the September issue. So, gotta act real fast. So, we're paying tribute to National Hispanic Heritage Month. We have, say her name, White Plains.
Milagros?
Yes. Running for mayor. And if she was to win, would not only be the first female mayor of White Plains, but would be the first Latino period, mayor in I think New York State possibly.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So if she was to win, she's one of the cover stories. We did interview Virginia Perez. Got a couple of other people. We're doing a piece on Hector. Hector, I need you to call me. Hector walks to Albany. That's just going to do his little trip to Albany and back.
Omi, don't forget Omi.
Omi, and I forgot to say, in the check-in, I called everybody name. Omi Medina Sr.
That's him.
Is tuned in to the show. So,
hi, Omi.
Yeah, so I think I called out everybody else's name. But it's just been crazy, man. It's been very old school. Mitchell, Anthony Mitchell, tuned in. Gail Baxter's tuned in. She called. Hector said Andre's a great dude. He left already, but I'm sure you'll hear that on the radio on the way out. This has just been a very, very. I'm not taking calls. I'm going to do the first half of the debate. We're not taking no calls before 7:30, so we can get our questions in, and the candidates can answer them. And then if anybody has calls after that. But if you do have a question, we are broadcasting live on Facebook. You can write your question in the comment section, and I will go through them and try to read as many of those as possible and see if we can get you some answers that way. For a matter of time, we're a 2-hour show. So this will go 4 or 5 hours if we allow all the callers to call in and have their say. We're also broadcasting live on Twitter. On my Twitter page, AJROK. So if you're on Twitter, go to my account, AJROK. You can also watch the show live. And I said, follow me on Facebook and also the People Before Politics page. Let me see, is the video? Yep, it popped up. It's still there, yes. Okay. Let me refresh that. Okay. Has the wrong date though, but yes. Oh, here it goes right here. Okay. How does it have the same date? I don't know. Anyway, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook. So you can watch a bunch of different ways. Any news this week in Black Westchester? I'm trying to kill time to give the last person a chance to show up, which will only be a small amount of time. I told you about Frank Cervico. I told you about law enforcement rallying for Colin. What was the next story we did after that? The Board of Elections and New York Supreme Court judge determined petitions valid in the White Plains Democratic primary, which is, say her name, White Plains Mayor. What's her name?
Milagros.
There you go. That's her. So that was this week. Something that I won't get y'all to talk about now because it is one of my questions. Astorino vetoing the immigration bill. I will give each of y'all a chance to share your thoughts on that. We had the candidates that were here last week. Well, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Last week.
The Democrats for a stronger Mount Vernon. They weren't here, gave a great interview, found out Monday.
They're former candidates
They
now?
were booted from the ballot. There was a mistake made. I don't know all the whole thing, but there was a mistake made in the ballot where Adrian, the one that's the school board president.
Yeah.
I think she dated some, and then she was out of
She
the
was out of
country
town.
or something.
Yeah.
So and they instead of just throwing those sheets out, because they had over 3,100 signatures, and that still would have left them with well over 2,700 if you threw those pages out. The judge ruled to throw the whole ballot out. Like the whole ticket is off the ballot now.
So are they still? So they can't run. They're just
Well,
giving
not
up.
unless
It's over.
not unless they can't run in the Democratic primary. Although a lot of their supporters are determined to try to pull off a coup and do one of the largest write-in campaigns for Robin Myers and Paul Herrick.
Are they
the
still?
other two.
So is Robin and Paul still going to campaign?
I don't know what they're doing. It just I know Floyd posted, Robin's husband posted that the battle was over. The war is not over. They may have won the battle, but
the war's not over.
Yeah, the war is not over. So there's something they're going to do that they're going to continue to fight. But I know a lot of people in the Fleetwood area were inquiring about a massive write-in campaign, and also supporters are trying to see what they can do to get the support of other parties, like say the Working Party, or I know Janice Duarte has the Independence Party, but there's still the other parties that you can get, so that they would be able to run, even if they're not in the primary, they still will be able to run in the general election in November. So I'm sure, like with everything else in Mount Vernon politics, this will not be the last that you hear about this, and you stay tuned to Black Westchester, and we will keep you informed as details become available. So another big story in the last week or so was community members were stunned that the mayor's decision to cut funds for the soup kitchen, and several other programs like the Razorbacks, which was the football team that he was on when he was little.
He was talking about that in his community
but
meeting.
he said I think he then decided that he was going to give them their money, and it was other organizations, the Boys and Girls Club. It was a bunch of programs for the kids, like for the youth, and all these programs, the boxing program, a bunch of programs. And I think he's
reinstated them.
The Razorbacks, he campaigned that he was a Razorback. So the Razorbacks made a big stink, and all the Razorback supporters came forward. And I think he said something about their voices have been heard, and he will give them the money that they were supposed to get.
Good for him.
I know the soup kitchen they done, because him and Roberta are at odds, and Councilwoman Roberta is the head of the soup kitchen. So, barring a miracle, if it's up to him, they won't see that money.
Oh,
so,
wow.
And they feed.
That's kind of grimy.
That feed over. Okay, I'm not. They feed over 300 people. I don't know if it's a day, on 3 or 4 days a week or something like that.
Seniors mostly.
Seniors, some homeless, some people just, families, like they got a place to live and stuff. They maybe have nothing to eat, and they just come through the soup kitchen. So it feed a lot of people in Mount Vernon. Depend on the soup kitchen to eat. They do things with clothes and clothing drives and everything else and stuff like that. So I don't know what they'll do. I'm sure that they'll be okay. But Councilwoman Roberta Puzo, who's the council president, she issued a statement and wrote a letter to the editor. And she said the cuts affect the most vulnerable who do not have enough substance. They do not have friends and family members. When they come to the soup kitchen, they know it's a safe, friendly environment, and they don't feel isolated. And this is what you're getting rid of. And it said they serve approximately 300 dinners and 300 sandwiches for clients who visit.
For people that are hungry, man.
4 days per week, Tuesday through Friday. Senior citizens, families, disabled persons rely on the services provided by the soup kitchen to receive a nutritious meal. So that was one of the stories of this week. I'm trying to see what was trying to catch y'all up. Peekskill, the judge threw out the Peekskill Republican. What happened was the Republican ticket has 2 Democrats. Yes.
They cross-endorsed them?
They have 2 Democrats on their ticket. So the 2 Democrats Andre Rainey, who's a city councilman, is running for mayor for Democrat. They were walking around saying, when you asked, that they were on the ticket with Andre Rainey. Problem is, they also told his grandmother that when they were there. And she called to find out and found out that they're not on the ticket. And they've been sued. And they I think they got kicked off of the Republican primary. They lost their right to run in the primary on the Democratic primary. So the judge just ruled on that this week too. So it's been a very busy week in politics in Westchester. So it's 6:43. The third, if she comes in, that's going to be good. We're going to begin now. I'm going to start going this way. You each have 2 minutes for whatever intro. Say your name and whatever intro you want, whatever you want to talk about. Make sure you pull your mic close to you so everybody can hear you. And if you can't hear for any reason, put the headphones on. You can hear better.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here today again. I am so pleased to be here. My name is Carmen Gomez Goldberg, and I am running for the county legislative seat in the 16th district. I've been Yonkers resident for 35 years. I've raised 5 children in the city of Yonkers. I have started several organizations, and I've been president of some. I'm in a lot of the board meetings representing the community, and I decided that this was just a natural thing to do, to throw my hat in the ring. My children have been raised in the city of Yonkers. Some of them do work in the city of Yonkers, and I do believe in fighting, and I do believe in the fact that my constituents and the citizens of the 16th district need a stronger voice and at the county level. Thank you.
Okay. Stop. Begin.
Good evening, AJ. Thank you for having me. My name is Nicole Benjamin, and I am running for the 16th County Legislative District. I would like to say what distinguishes me is I am the only candidate who has openly declared that I will put people before politics.
Uh-huh.
I am here solely to serve the 56,000 people in the 16th Legislative District. I'm an independent voice. I'm the only candidate who has no political allegiance to the Yonkers Democratic Party or any political elected official in Yonkers. I haven't made any backdoor deal with anyone. So I can be an independent voice. Professionally and educationally, I am the best candidate to serve the unique issues of the 16th district. I have a unique social work and legal background as an LMSW, court evaluator, and guardian for Supreme Court. And I am not provincial in my platform. It's not just about childcare, transportation, but my membership in many organizations has given me an opportunity to address many issues within Westchester County, such as food insecurity, prescription drug prices, open spaces in our dense Yonkers community. So otherwise, I feel that I would be the best candidate for the above reasons, and I look forward to people coming out to vote for me on September 12th. Thank you.
Let me just say,
Yes.
I'm not expecting this to be the norm, but both of y'all, it's a beautiful thing. Stop before your 2 minutes was over. The last time I had a debate, I'm like, stop. So go ahead. I'm not expecting it to be the norm for the rest of the day, but I just want to acknowledge that.
I'm glad you stated that with them because I can't guarantee anything. But good evening, Christopher Johnson, current city councilman in Yonkers, representing the 1st District. And thank you for allowing us to be here and to have this platform to speak to voters in the 16th District and beyond. I'm excited for this opportunity to run for this seat because while I've been on the council for the past 6 years, and children have been my #1 issue, making sure that they're ready and our public school system is getting every single dollar that our children deserve. Unfortunately, the county doesn't deal with that, but they do deal with child care, as one of my opponents mentioned. And so making sure that child care subsidies allow our children to be ready for the first day of school is something that I think is extremely important. The second thing that I've worked on the city level is affordable housing, making sure that people have access to safe, affordable housing. And so obviously we've seen what that it looks like at the county level with our county executive fighting with the federal government over what is only right, making sure that in the richest county in this nation, which is the richest nation in the world, that people have a place, people who work every day, who go to work each and every day, have an opportunity to have housing that they can afford that is not just safe but also decent, and that's the responsibility of the county to make sure that those things exist. So I'm excited to serve the people in the 16th district should they choose me to be their county legislator. I'm excited to be here and have an opportunity to discuss those issues and more as we continue this conversation.
And you've continued that trend.
All right.
With 18 seconds left. Moving right along, so we just said last week, first the county legislators passed the Immigration Protection Act, and as expected, the county executive vetoed it. And I think the county legislators have to come up with at least 2 more people to override the veto. I don't know if they have it, but I'm going to go this way, starting with Chris. And again, take 2 minutes. How do you feel about that? The whole vote, the act itself, the Protection Act, and the veto, and what you plan to do to support or help get through if you are in office?
Absolutely. So first, I'll start by saying that if I was a member of the board at the time that the vote was taken, I would have supported it with a yes. It passed 10-5, and as you said, got vetoed. It would have been 11 if legislator Lyndon Williams was there, so they need to find 1 more vote in order to be able to override the county executive's veto. On the city council, I'm a co-sponsor of the Yonkers Sanctuary Bill, which does very similar things as the county Immigrant Protection Act does, making sure that the police department does not ask for immigration status when they interact with the public and things of that nature, making sure that people feel safe. Because the reality is, if you feel like you're going to get asked about your status when you interact with the police, you're going to avoid interacting with the police. And so that means if you're in a domestic situation, or if you see an accident, or you see a crime being committed, or you're the victim of a crime, you may not call the police because you feel like your own life would be in jeopardy. So we need to make sure that people who are undocumented can feel safe and have the ability to communicate with our police department. One of the things that I do want to say, however, is that one of the county legislators who voted against it referenced a letter written by the Hispanic law enforcement officers stating that it was, I think their letter stated that it handcuffs police more than it handcuffs criminals, which I think is a ridiculous statement. And I think as we continue answering these questions, I would ask Carmen Gomez-Goldberg how she feels being endorsed by such an organization that is completely against the Immigrant Protection Act.
Pause. Cancel. Sorry. Same question.
Same question. My concern with this act is for the victims of crime. I'm a member of Junior League. I'm the Government and Public Policy Chair. And most recently, we visited an undisclosed home for Hope's Door, which is domestic violence shelter. And Junior League actually just gave them a new refrigerator for the families, the mothers who are there, whose residences cannot be disclosed. So my concern is for victims such as those at Hope's Door, domestic violence victims, that they can't report crimes against them simply because of their undocumented status. It is my hope that a resolution comes quickly and that all parties can work in a bipartisan fashion and come to the table.
All right. Quick.
Hi, so being Hispanic and understanding what's going on, and also being the chair of the Mayor's Hispanic Advisory Board, I am also a co-sponsor of Protect and Do Not Ask questions in the city of Yonkers. However, this is such a complex problem, and I have to say this, and it's an imperfect problem with an imperfect solution when this bill went to the floor. And I am going to go back and discuss this very at length because it's a passion of mine. I want the citizens of Yonkers, no matter who they are, undocumented, documented, protected at all times. However, when the county will be facing 1.6 million to 1.8 million in loss of revenues from the federal government, the first ones to go will be the first responders. With that, and going back to conversation that I even had with one of the legends, Maxwell, who is it going to affect? Those correction officers who have less than 5 years on the job, when those cuts come from the federal government because they declare a sanctuary city, will be the first ones to go, will be the first one to seek this injustice. Another situation that we're having, because I did go back and I did research this, it's that, okay, the police does not send anybody away, okay? A judge does. Okay, and the police officers do not go around and telling ISIS who's illegal or who is not or who's undocumented. The corrections department do upon their arrest, upon entering corrections. With that in mind, I have to think that we also have a responsibility as legislators to protect the men and women behind the walls in these four walls, okay, that are protecting these criminals, and at the same time they're protecting the community to protect them. So if they say, okay, let's sign the Sanctuary Act the way it is, that means that those correction officers go unprotected, and those criminals behind bars could spit at them, okay, and do all kinds of things and say, guess what? I'm not going to be deported. So my answer to that is bring the bill, take the bill back and bring it back to the floor, and let's get the right people, okay, to put this bill together in order to be passed so it could be a sanctuary city for everyone.
All right.
If I may.
1 minute, go ahead.
Sure. So, first of all, part of this is language, right? Because when you start using language in politics, things become political. And so one of the things that the crafters of this legislation did, and I give the Democrats on the board and those Republicans who voted for it credit, is that they removed the word sanctuary. So that, because that has a lot of things get thrown around politically. So it's an Immigrant Protection Act, and what it says is that the county will not use federal funds. The county will not use the county will not use county funds, and they will not use county employees to enforce federal immigration law. That's all it says. And you know what? To protect the county executive who says that there may or may not be funding that we lose from the federal government, when he damaged communities in Westchester when he fought the housing agreement with the federal government, is ridiculous. So he can give up money when it comes to people who need affordable housing in Westchester County. But when it comes to people who want to be safe in their own communities and live just like the rest of us, it's okay to say, no, you know what, we can't give up any federal dollars. You know, the reality is you got to stand on the side of right no matter what.
Okay. If you want 30 seconds to answer, and then we're going to move on from that.
I just want to make sure that it's understood that Hector Lopez, okay, is in charge of many men and women, and he has to protect them. Now, we looked at this bill. It's not the right bill. It's not the correct bill. There's nothing wrong with sending it back to the attorneys to meet with the proper people and make the correct decision. Pointing fingers doesn't help us. This is not about Rob Astorino as much as it is to protect our own people who are protecting those who protect us.
Okay, cool. So we're moving on. Now, you kind of ruined my second question. Because I've been hearing a lot about the Sanctuary City thing, even before this Immigration Protection Act. And I wanted to give each of y'all a minute to tell me what a sanctuary city means to you, and do we need it or don't need it? And I'm going to start with you.
I think we need to protect everyone. And like I said, a cop does not put somebody away. That's a decision of a judge based on information he has gathered. Okay, we do need to protect those in order, but we've been saying this for many, many years. It's okay to report a crime. It's okay. We will protect you. We won't say anything. We're not going to get you in trouble. The police is here to protect anyone from harm. And some of the people causing the harm could be in their own communities, just like they might be in my own community or your own community, Chris. Okay, it's a matter that we have to understand what the people are doing as protecting, and if we do need to go back and educate people without alarming them, then that's our job, and that's our responsibility as leaders in the community, is to educate our constituents. Okay, do they need to be protected? Absolutely. Okay, absolutely, 150%.
AJ, I think all the candidates are reiterating the same point, that the most vulnerable victims among us who are undocumented do need to be protected, as I mentioned, especially with domestic violence victims or children. Myself, my parents are immigrants from the island of Antigua. They came here. Both of my parents went to college here. So there are hardworking immigrants who do come here to build the community. There should be more services, clinics, legal clinics, to assist immigrants with obtaining their papers. Those who came here on student visas or work visas or DACA, who for some reason or another, their paperwork was unable to go through. I know that the law school that I attended, CUNY Law School, has an immigration clinic where immigrants can come in there for free and obtain services in order to get their papers. So there should be more services in place to help undocumented citizens who want to contribute to our society.
You know, we need to make sure that we do what we can on the county level. Obviously, there are problems on the federal level that are not being addressed and haven't been addressed for decades and are only getting worse with the current administration. And like one of my opponents, you know, I'm from a family of immigrants. My grandmother's Jamaican, my mother is British. You know, they came here when my mother was 14 years old, and she worked her way through, you know, she first in her family on that side to go to college, and then making sure that she became a citizen only 20 years ago. But the reality is that we need to do what we can, and that includes educating our community. And the reality is, though, we have to be in touch with each and every individual within the community, and there are people who don't feel safe, who don't feel like they can communicate with our police department. And so there's a trust issue that has to be addressed, and until we address that, then we need to make sure that there are laws in place that protect people, because they're living in fear, and that's a problem.
Okay, I let everybody talk, but I still didn't kind of get. I want to see if y'all can do this in 30 seconds. What is a sanctuary city? You know, like I'm not clear on what that is. So I just want to hear what the three of y'all, what you feel a sanctuary city is.
A sanctuary city basically is protecting all immigrants from being deported. Now, I am a proxy to 20 children, okay, that if their parents get deported, the children stay with me, okay? So basically, in understanding what a sanctuary city is, it's stopping the deportation of undocumented.
Likewise, it's stopping the deportation of undocumented immigrants, and many churches have declared themselves sanctuaries. Most recently in the news, there was a mother of 5 children, and the church held her. She stayed in the church so that she wouldn't be deported and that her kids could stay unified with her.
The only difference that I would state is, in my opinion, a sanctuary city is a place where undocumented individuals that do not commit felonies are not deported. So if you commit a felony and you have to go through the system in that manner, and at the end of it you're deported, then so be it. But if you commit another type of crime, a misdemeanor or something low level, you run a red light, or something to that nature, you should be protected.
And protecting the innocent, because one of the things that, you know, like if from the way this bill is written, if one of the prisoners from committing a crime goes back home and he commits another crime, the people that he's living with, even though they're innocent, they might be undocumented, but because he's living there, they could get actually deported as well. So it's just not clear. Like I said, to me, it's an imperfect problem, and they made an imperfect solution.
I want to move on to something. I've talked to everybody here individually when you came in the air. I've actually had Councilman Johnson call up here about it. Homelessness. Homelessness is a word that in Westchester, the county, on the county level, they don't think really exists in Westchester County. Whereas like poverty, homelessness, they don't exist in Westchester. But I live in Mount Vernon and y'all all live in Yonkers, and we know this is not true. So I don't know I don't know as far as your district, how homelessness hits your district, because y'all are just running for a district. But what, and everybody gets 2 minutes, what will you do to help the homelessness problem in Yonkers? So we're going to start with Nicole and go that way. So, yeah.
The homelessness issue is very complex. As you know, a lot of the homelessness stems from people who may be mentally ill and they can no longer perform their activities of daily living to survive as a productive citizen in our society. So mental health needs to be addressed. I know that that is only a small portion of our budget. I believe it's almost $8 million of the budget in Westchester County, but it needs to be increased. That would stem some of the tide. I know that the Westchester County is actively working towards employment training and has taken on that responsibility and taken it away from some of the contract agencies to ensure that people are gainfully employed. So as I said, mental health, employment, and I mean, yes, it is a topic that hasn't necessarily been addressed in Westchester County because it's perceived that most of the people in Westchester are affluent, but Yonkers and Mount Vernon, as you know, deal with high levels of poverty, including hunger and unemployment in certain districts, particularly our district, and it should be addressed. And I think that I have the skills to address that as someone who has worked in mental health for almost 20 years as a licensed master social worker. Also working to ensure that senior citizens maintain housing as a court evaluator and guardian for New York State Supreme Court. So the most vulnerable of our population, mentally ill and children, I've made sure that to put in safeguards to keep them off of the street.
Can I just ask that everybody stick to the topic? Yes, please.
Okay. Wait, let me start your time again. Hold on. Go ahead.
Homelessness is about home. It's actually, homelessness has a lot of definitions. A family, a mother and a father with 2 children could be living with their grandparents because they're homeless. They count as homelessness. They're actually functionally people who actually shower in bathrooms or anywhere or wash up and go to work every day, and they're still homeless. And then in Westchester County, it's not just Yonkers and Mount Vernon. There's also Peekskill. It's a lack of affordable housing. It's a lack of economics. Okay, it's a lack of services. Sometimes all a family needs is a little bit of help to get back on their feet. It's a lack of understanding what the homeless is. It's not putting them in a shelter. They check in the evening, and then in the morning they get thrown out because they have no other place to go. And then they go to the library, they're in the street, they're cold, they have nowhere to go. It's not just about mental illnesses. There are many addictions also with homelessness, but there's also the fact that it's economically driven. It's also the fact that some of these people need housing. They need help, but they also need the services. They need the services in order to teach them how to balance the budget and be able to pay the rent, in order to teach them what it's like now to be back in an apartment. Okay, so the county is facing a really serious issue with the homelessness, and it's not just about 2 cities. I think it's throughout the entire county, even though it is a rich county, because I know a lot of the grandparents that have their families living with them in a 1-bedroom apartment because they don't have a home of their own because they could not afford the rents that we have today.
You know, I said it before, it does not make sense that in the richest county in the nation, which is the richest country in the world, that you have people who go to work each and every day who can't afford to keep a roof over their head. The reality is that there are different reasons why people end up in that situation where they are homeless. And what I want people to understand, the first thing that I think we all need to understand is that people who are homeless are people, right? They're not the homeless. It's not them. It's not those people. They are individuals like you and I who some have fallen on hard times. Some work and just don't have the economic ability to make ends meet. So we saw in Yonkers and the legislator of this district, homelessness will be an issue that needs to be discussed because the sharing community in Yonkers resides inside of the 16th County Legislative District. And so what I saw last year was 13 people sleeping outside on cots because there was no place for them to sleep because the mayor deemed the overnight shelter uninhabitable, and so 13 individuals slept outside in the cold, and I sat with them for hours till my wife texted me and told me to come home. And that should not happen, ever. And then when I went back to watch and see the process take place as people line up and get their names called to get into vans, a woman walked up to me and told me she did not want to go to Oasis in New Rochelle because it was too far from her job. These are people who work. There are people who have mental illness. There are people who aren't taking their medication. But there are people who just don't have the economic ability to make ends meet. So we need to make sure that there's affordable housing in this county. There's housing that people who go to work every day, put on their pants like you and I, get on the bus, drive a car, whatever they do to get to work, work their butts off for themselves and their families, that they have a place to go and cover their head at the end of the night. And the reality is that if you're not talking about affordable housing, you're not talking about homelessness.
Can I have a quick moment to rebut?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make a quick comment with Ms. Gomez's point about it's not just mental health. I wouldn't presume to say that the issue of homelessness is that simplistic or linear. The county puts in wraparound services. It's never enough, but wraparound services include preventive services, in-the-moment services for family, and aftercare services. That also includes daycare, childcare, employment, budgeting, mental health, to ensure that medical services, SNAP benefits, food stamps, to ensure that a family is able to stay permanently in housing once they receive housing. So I just wanted to clarify that it's not just one issue, but it's an understanding that it's a myriad of very complex issues to ensure that the homelessness issue is alleviated or prevented in Westchester County, particularly the 16th district.
Since you were mentioned, you want 30 seconds to respond?
Yes, and I do agree with Ms. Benjamin, but I also want to say that there are many that end up back in the street. And I don't know whether it's because of lack of social services or lack of employees to deal with this matter or the department being cut. But I also want to say that as an administrator in a school, I have children that have to be on a bus at 6 o'clock and they don't get to us until 8:30. Okay, because they are in a homeless shelter, okay, and they were citizens of Yonkers, but they were placed further and further apart. Now that it's very concerning to me. And then school ends at 4, they're still there at 5, waiting for a pickup to take them back to that shelter. So it's a humanistic problem and a humane issue, and I think us as human, everybody should be able to help and try to make sure that this problem, if not disappear, at least, okay, get stronger and better for those who really, truly need it.
I want to, you brought up something that had hit me a little bit, the whole affordable housing thing. Now, I'm going to be straight up on the air. Most affordable housing buildings that I see, I can't afford to live in. You know what I'm saying? And I'm probably not doing as bad as a lot of people, but I cannot afford to live in what they call affordable housing. So who is this affordable housing for? Where they're popping up in Mount Vernon, they're popping up in Yonkers, they're popping up all these places. But I want y'all to speak on the whole affordable housing situation because y'all have that in Yonkers too. So we're going to start with Carmen and go that way.
I think there's lack of affordable housing. For instance, a building goes up, Southwest Yonkers, you only allow 10%, if that's correct, Council member, 10% of them to go to affordable housing. Okay, but there's also criteria involved in it. And I think it's some of those criteria that we need to chop away a little bit and make it more accessible. And instead of that 10%, we need to find real affordable housing for people that could really afford it. And I understand, because I was once homeless myself, okay, and if it wasn't for a woman named Joan Jennings, okay, that let me stay in her basement, I would have been out of an apartment because I couldn't afford it. So I understand, I get the whole situation, but I think it has to do with the fact that people have to take this problem very, very serious. And homelessness is not about a race. Homeless is simply about economics.
Well, with regard to economics, the current federal poverty standard for a family of 2 is $15,000. The current federal poverty standard for a family of 4 is $23,000. Most recently, for 2017, United Way did an assessment on the poverty level in Westchester, and the statistics for a family of 4 in order to survive in Westchester is way different from the $23,000 of the federal standard.
Absolutely.
The Alice report by United Way said that a family of 4 needs $78,000 to survive in Westchester. The Westchester Women's Agenda, of which that I am participate in their summit, they talked about poverty, particularly among women. The biggest reason for poverty among women is rent, that we maintain a cycle of poverty because women cannot afford to pay rent, and ownership. You need a significant amount of good credit and savings. But if you are a woman, particularly a single mother in Westchester, your ability to rise out of poverty is particularly limited as a result of that. So yes, affordable housing is a very valid issue in Westchester, particularly in Yonkers along the waterfront. If you see the sky rises that are going up, they're all rentals. A 1-bedroom near me in the building that was just put up near me, I believe, is $3,000. Studio, I believe, is $2,000. So the average person will be struggling. And when I was knocking on doors, I met a mom who told me that she has to move out of Yonkers. She said she was moving to Cortlandt Manor because she lives in the bedroom and her son sleeps on the couch. And she said that she wants him to have his own bedroom one day, and that she'll never be able to get out of that cycle of him not being able to have his own personal space unless she moves out of Yonkers.
So the term affordable housing is relative, right? So if you're a millionaire, affordable housing is different than if you make $20,000 a year. If you're a billionaire, affordable housing is different than if you make $50,000 a year. And so, but we're talking about how you approach this as a legislator. And so I can speak to that because I have experience doing that. So 4 years ago, we had an ordinance in front of us, an ordinance that had that would force developers in the city of Yonkers to include 20% of every project to be set aside for people that need affordable rents. Because we did not have a clear Democratic majority on the city council, we got that forced down to 10% with a 5% buyout, potential for a 5% buyout. Now, the good thing is that the buyouts are high enough where no developer has yet decided to buy out. We've got almost 4,000 units that are going to pop up on the Yonkers waterfront in the next decade. So we're talking about 400 affordable units. And the reality is that we're not just talking about, like I said, it's relative to income, right? But we're talking about families who make between $35,000 a year and $80,000 a year. And when I sat and crafted this legislation with our attorneys and with the mayor, I thought about myself, because the reality is I grew up in a family of 4, myself, my mother, and my 2 younger twin sisters, and we had 2 bedrooms. And I had my own room, my sister shared a room, and my mother slept in the living room. So I know exactly what that's like. And my mother made $35,000 a year. So when I crafted this, I crafted it with a family like mine in mind. Somewhat with a family who there's only one breadwinner possibly, where they go to work and they work their butts off to raise their children, making sure that ends can meet. And so hopefully it's legislation like this that we can take to the county level and craft something that looks exactly like it, if not better, that helps more families.
Lorraine, any questions? No.
Well, I had a question in the beginning when we were talking about the immigration, but not now.
Okay, so you don't want to exit now, or you just?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay, you're good. Okay.
This is interesting.
Okay. I was asking you because you are a Yonkers person and I'm not, so you might know the issues of Yonkers.
Former council person.
Okay,
Former
but I
council
will
person.
jump in.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't want you to feel left out. That's all.
No.
Okay.
AJ, if I wanted to ask a question, I would say, AJ, can I ask a question?
I know. So anyway, I dealt with that. I still, like I said, I have a problem with that whole like affordable housing thing because, like I said, I can't afford. And the recipe for some of it is like what the criteria is. If you make a certain amount of money, you make too much to live in affordable housing. So to live, if you make under that amount, you know your rent's supposed to be like a third of your salary. Your if you make under the amount to qualify to live in there, there's no way you can live in there without some kind of Section 8 or something to help you get in there. Because there's just like, you know, so it's almost set up for you to have to live on Section 8 to live in there because people who make enough money to actually live in there, there's a limit and they're over the limit, so they can't move in.
Well, so
like,
the Yonkers bill. So let me talk about the Yonkers bill a little bit. So anybody who makes less than 30% of the Westchester County AMI, let's take a family of 4, for example, that would be $33,000. If you make less than that, you qualify to live in municipal housing, which is run by the federal government. They say the standard is 30% of the county's area median income, which, as I said, is $33,000. You make less than that, you qualify to live in public housing. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the Yonkers legislation to start at 31%, so it starts at 35. So there's a 5% gap, but then it's tiered, right? So if of that 10%, a third needs to be for families between 35 and 50%, a third between 50 and 65%, and a third between 65 and 80%. So as I said, in Yonkers, we're building housing for families that make between $35,000 a year and $80,000 a year. So if you're in that, like in your family of 4, in this example, you're good. Obviously, there are other things that unfortunately you may have to jump through, which are things that we talked to with the developer and the management companies, like credit checks and things like that, mentioned by other candidates that are completely a problem when you're dealing with people of low income who need, you know, these opportunities, who may be trying to break themselves and their families out of the cycle of poverty that has existed in communities of color, especially for decades, if not centuries, in this nation. And so there's work to be done still, but this was a great start. I mean, I get calls from legislators throughout the county, from other municipalities in the state, that say, "Hey, you did that tiered thing. How does it go?" Because that means the developer can't just say, "Oh, you make $79,000. Yeah, you're here. Come, we got you." No, you got to get somebody that makes $35,000 a year in there and only charge them 10% of their income. And so when we talk about this unit is $2,000 a month, yeah, for market rate. But if you qualify, then it's a third of your income, whatever your income is. And so we're really building housing. Like, this is focused. And once again, there's a lot of things that are not perfect about this. It doesn't start today. It didn't start 4 years ago when we first implemented it. The housing has to be built. It's on new construction. So unfortunately, as I said, I didn't have the support on the council when we first introduced this, and the building that went up, that Ms. Benjamin mentioned, that went up right next to hers, was grandfathered in. So all of their luxury housing is way too expensive for, at least, I think she said it's too expensive for her to get into. I know it's too expensive for me to get into. So the housing wasn't built for everyday, regular people, and that's what we wanted to do with this ordinance, and that's what I believe we were able to craft.
And I just want to say one thing. And the problem with this is that this is why you should stay in city council. You got 2 more years. You know, it's so good. And all the construction. You're
going to support me in 2019.
And all the construction.
2019.
All the construction is on your district. But I just want to say one thing, and this is because of that criteria, and because of the numbers he just gave you. A lot of this housing do not go to Yonkers residents. A lot of it is not. Is going to other residents of other boroughs. And I just wanted to state that.
And Mount Vernon, and some of this housing is to draw in. First off, we're the fourth most populated city or whatever, and they want to draw in. The mayor would like to draw in another 25,000. Where the hell are these people gonna go? Like,
I would like to say
in Mount
this,
Vernon. I'm just saying in Mount Vernon. Like
in the 2000 census, right? I was not counted in Yonkers because I didn't live in Yonkers. I live in Yonkers now, and I was counted in the census after that. And so we have to be careful when we discuss, who we're building housing for. The reality is we're building this housing for people in need, no matter where they come from. And we should include first rights to local people. But the reality is, if I move out of housing into that housing, somebody's got to move into my housing. And so that's how you grow, right? So we're trying to grow. We're trying to make sure that we attract more people, not just to Yonkers, but to Westchester County as a whole. There's a lot more that we have to do. We have to make it so that people don't just live here and do everything else in New York City, right? We have to make it so that people feel like Westchester, Yonkers specifically in this case, is their home, that they can hang out here, that they can, shop here, that they can eat here, that they can tell their friends to come visit here and they have something to do. We got to give the whole package. And so the first piece is providing that housing. And that's what we're trying to do.
But there's a lot of gentrification going on, especially in your district, Christopher.
So
can I finish?
Yes.
Because I know several people that used to live in housing in that area, and they were forced to move out of where they were so that they can build this big building with market rate rent. And half of these people are the homeless that you were just talking about a little while ago. I mean, what did you guys do to help these folks, other than kick them out of their home? I mean, where is the housing for them? Where is the affordable housing for these folks?
So no project that's been approved while I've been on the council is displacing people. Not one project. Every project that I've approved while on the city council.
That doesn't mean the problem doesn't exist.
No, I'm not saying that.
There.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. I'm responding to your point that when you build new housing, and you don't include people of all incomes, then you absolutely, without a doubt, move in that direction. The challenge is to build new housing that has people of all different incomes, so people can live in the neighborhood together and thrive together. So the goal is to make sure that as that housing that did not displace anyone on its as it was built, that it allows people in that are of different economic statuses, and that the people who lived in the neighborhood before still have access to the neighborhood. We still have
but they don't have access to the apartments.
We have an over the tracks problem in Yonkers where people feel like, hey, I've been in this neighborhood my entire life, but I don't go to that side of the tracks where we have buildings that are less than 10 years old, where we have an amazing restaurant, where we have a growing, thriving waterfront. And so we still have work to do to make sure that those people have access and feel like they can traverse and that they can access those places. But and I can tell you I work on this regularly. We're working to make sure we're not displacing anyone. So unfortunately, something like Mulford Gardens, which they said, hey, you guys get out of here, and we'll accept you back once we build the new housing. But they only built half the apartments that were already there, and they put restrictions on who could come back, and they wanted mixed income, so everybody couldn't come back. So you only allowed a small percentage of that population back in. We didn't do that. So with Cottage, with Cottage, what's going on with Cottage Place Gardens right now is they built where Old School 6 was first. They put up an apartment building first, and moved people from one of the public housing buildings into that building, then tore a building down. And then they built a new building in that spot, and then moved people. So there's a rotation that's occurring so that no one is displaced, and that people can still live affordably in a community that they've lived for as long as they've lived there.
Let me ask,
AJ, I just wanted to compliment you for bringing up this topic, because people don't realize a lot of political support is motivated by real estate deals.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We have a lot of that in Mount Vernon too. So, question just went in and out of my head real quick. Like, this affordable housing thing just blows my mind away though. But I wanted to move. I'm gonna come back to the question because I can't think of it. But I want to give you each 2 minutes what your platform is. What is it that you would like to accomplish in your 2-year term as county legislator, if you were to win, and then what is your platform? What is your go to? I'm going to start with Carmen. Go
Like I said before when I was in the program, the opioid epidemic, which is not an epidemic, is something that's been going on for a while. I keep seeing a lot of my friends bury their children, and it's very concerned because of the simple reason that there should be a lot more restriction into what the doctors prescribe people. And so one of the biggest things that I do want to is, and I know that that the county executive and the county legislator are starting to combat this problem, but I want to be able to go in there and help. And I know a task force was set in and put in place, and they have been saying that they will condemn any criminal activity of selling drugs. But it's not just the selling drugs in the street. It's actually the physicians who actually do prescribe these drugs. That's one of them. And like I said, the second one will be homelessness, because it's very dear to my heart, and I see the problem increasing each day. As I go to work every day, the problem keeps increasing more and more and more in actually families that I do know, and I would like it to start. More and more and more grandmothers are actually raising their own families all over again because they can't stand for their daughter or their child to be homeless. And also the security and the safety of people, and of course the immigration. I would like, I wasn't born in this country. I came from Puerto Rico, and even though we are United States citizens,
in this country.
I still say, no, it's not. I still feel much of an immigrant myself, okay? I still speak with an accent. I am not, okay? Even though I am
Trump will
American.
he'll probably still try to deport you.
Yeah,
Because he
he'll
probably
try-
won't be different.
Right, exactly.
And he don't know where
to
Puerto
Trump,
Rico
it doesn't
is.
really matter, right? But to be honest with you, that's also, I think I can help. Number one, I speak the language. Number two, I'm very close to the community, and it's part about educating. I have the responsibility, without alarming them, to educate them and to help them and to understand more and more and more this problem. Thanks, AJ.
So the issues that I would like to address are, again, mental health, because that would stem the tide with regard to homelessness and unemployment, and the implementation of wraparound services, preventive as well as aftercare, to ensure that people stay stable and to address what Carmen said about recidivism, that people are in and out, that it is a revolving door. So I would like to see wraparound services to prevent recidivism. Also, hunger. Senator Cousins just recently participated in a panel discussion last week about food insecurity in Westchester, that over 500,000 seniors go to bed hungry. Many of our children go to bed hungry every night. So once I'm elected to the county board, I would like to work closely with Food Bank of Westchester and all of the other social service agencies, so that people aren't ashamed to say that they're hungry. Many of our college students are here and not eating and ashamed to say that they're hungry. Also, childcare, as we mentioned before, is an issue for many parents who are saying that they can't afford to work and pay childcare at the same time. Transportation for many of our families who are burdened by the cost of a car, that they can't afford to get around Westchester without a car. Many people struggle with public transportation. So that's just some of the issues that I would address in terms of among a myriad of other issues that I feel that I would be quite competent and capable to address as a county legislator.
Very nice.
So, you know, one of the amazing things about being an elected official is you always have a plan, you always have ideas that you want to tackle, and when you get there, you keep those as priorities, but other things may come up. But what we're talking about on this campaign is, and I'm glad we spent so much time talking about it here, is affordable housing, making sure that our homeless population has access, whether it's making sure that they are employed properly, or making sure that they have access to affordable housing, or making sure that they get the mental health services that they need. We want to make sure that we deal with homelessness and affordable housing, number one. As mentioned, affordable childcare. Our children have been like the number one issue at the forefront for me, and making sure that our children get everything that they need. And so what small piece of the pie I can deal with as a county legislator, I want to jump and dive deep into. And so affordable childcare, unfortunately we have too many families here in Westchester County that have to make a choice. Do I stay home with my children and go to DSS and receive public assistance, or do I leave my child with unlicensed, unsafe daycare situations so that I can go to work? We should, as a county, be saying, look, if you're going to receive some kind of public assistance, let's adjust the subsidies. And unfortunately, the subsidies were cut several years ago. They need to reach a level, again, where families don't have to make that decision, where we can say, you know what, go to work, contribute to society, be an amazing person, an amazing family person, raise your family, and we'll take care of your children for a little bit. We'll help you just a little bit take care of your children until they're ready for school. And then more of a quality life issue, but for so many people, it is, you know, at the forefront of what they need, and that's public transportation, making sure people have access to buses and trains that make sense, that where the timing works, the connections work. I've heard on doors where people say that they're upset that the express bus to Manhattan doesn't run hours where they need it to run, and it doesn't make the connections that they needed to make, and it makes life difficult for so many people here in Westchester County.
Now, Nicole, circling back, I think you mentioned something about being beholden to others.
Right.
Would you like to elaborate that, or are you speaking about anything in specific and you would like to talk about?
Damn.
I'm sure, Mr. Woodson, you're alluding to something that I really don't want to go there, but I do think that the populace, the voting populace of the 16th Legislative District, need to know that to scratch the surface beyond what they see with candidates, because there are always strings being pulled from behind the scenes. And who the party endorses is not necessarily who the party endorses on paper. And they have their own motivations as to why they're endorsing people or helping people behind the scenes. And Hezi Aris recently put out an article about that. So people need to read that as to what backdoor deals have been made, particularly motivated surrounding real estate, because it's very concerning. And the people should have a choice at the ballot box instead of being led blindly and thinking that who they're voting for is in their best interest when they have no intention of a best interest for their voting district at all. So people need to wake up and be aware, and that's all that I have to say on that topic.
Okay. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to elaborate if you wanted to.
I'm choosing not to.
Okay, not a problem.
If I may?
1 minute.
So I work for State Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins. I used to be her deputy chief of staff, and when I got elected to the city council, I took a lesser role in her office. Candidates, and Miranda's not here, but she also works in that same office. And so people have asked me personally, you know, what does that mean? Does the senator tell me what to do? Does she call me and say, vote this way? The reality is, the answer to that question is clearly no. I can think of at least one opportunity off the top of my head, which I've talked about on this show, where literally I'm the only elected official in the state of New York who's had a vote on that issue, who did not vote in favor of it. And, you know, to the conversation about developers and who supports who, I've had developers give me money and vote against their projects. That's just how it goes sometimes. Like, the reality is I represent 33,000 people right now, and I vote in their best interest, whether or not someone has had a conversation with me or has donated to my campaign or feels like, you know, I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing. I vote based on the people that I represent. And, you know, Hezi is often incorrect. As much as I appreciate his writing and his style and his, you know, cutthroatness, you know, to suggest that anyone has just jumped and supported me is, you know, unfair, unwarranted, not founded. But if we want to talk about who people are beholden to, who people work for, who people are attached to, You know, Ms. Benjamin works for the county. She's an appointed member. She was appointed by Republican County Executive Rob Astorino, hashtag job from Rob. And so, like, the question is, like, if we want to talk about who hired who and, you know, where their bread is buttered, I mean, I think that's somewhere we should look.
Can I just interject one moment?
We're gonna, yes, you have, hold on.
Mr. Johnson seems very, I must have hit a nerve because Mr. Johnson responded to that and went off into left field about that in an attempt to besmirch me because he's trying to protect whatever deal he crafted with the mayor. And when he's saying it's unfounded, it is not unfounded because I've received confirmation for participants in this deal. And I would like to say with regard to my appointment, Mr. Johnson is incorrect. I have taken a test. I was scored #1 on my test. You need a master's in social work and a license to have that job. I received my license in 1999, almost 20 years ago. So I am qualified for that job and a great asset to my department. That's all that I have to say. It was not given to me. I earned it, and nothing has been given to me.
So, AJ, we'll pass the receipts. You know,
Okay.
when we get the paperwork that shows she's an appointee, that she
Well,
got
please
it,
do.
we'll
Please
pass the
do.
receipts.
Please
Okay.
do, because I have taken the test.
I didn't say you didn't take a
And I
test.
did pass the test.
Congratulations.
I wanted to ask you, and again, and I forgot where it ran though, about, and she kind of mentioned it. Who ran the story about you? The mayor is already.
Hezzy ran that story.
Oh, has he ran it? Okay.
Right. And I'd like to know
whoever
his sources are.
The mayor has already picked your successor, and that's why he's supporting you. And
Do you know who that is?
So, according to Hezzy's article, he mentioned Shanae. I have no idea, and to me, and I don't want to put Shanae's business out there, but her salary is public information, as is mine. So it would be a pay cut for her if she took, you know, if she was appointed to the city council. But the reality is, the charter of the city of Yonkers gives the mayor the power to appoint should there be a vacancy. There's not a vacancy today, right? The hope is, my three opponents hope that there isn't a vacancy, right? Because they hope to win. So then there's nothing to be vacated. There's no appointment to be made. But should I win, then, you know, then there will be an appointment. And the charter gives the mayor the right to make that appointment. Do I know who he will appoint? No. Have I had a conversation with him about who he will appoint? No. Has he put something and said he thinks who he'll appoint? Yes. That's all I got.
But didn't you say that you had a list that you wanted to give the mayor of people that?
So yes, so this has been a
could
concern
possibly-
from several unions that have endorsed me, and some that have had questions about endorsing me is who the mayor will put in my seat should I win. And I've told them, well, first we got to get through September 12th, right? Because if one of my opponents should win, then that's not a concern. Should I win, however, my intent is to provide a list of people that members of my community would like to already see as leaders, and would like to see their leadership role continue and potentially in this capacity, and present that list to the mayor in the hopes that he chooses someone from that list. Now, that is not guaranteed in any way, shape, or form, but you know, that's how it goes.
Since this has kind of been a conversation going on over there, do you have anything to say about any of the topics that was just brought up? Or I just want to give you equal billing.
No, in respect to the fact that Femma Brandon is not here, but I did want to say that she did approach me at one of the events and told me that a deal was made to her that if she stepped down, that they will appoint her to Christopher Johnson's seat. She did make that very, very clear to me that deal was offered
Someone
to
mentioned
her,
something like that.
and she turned it down. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't live in the council's district or anything like that. I just want to say that we're here for the purpose of educating the people. And so basically, I just want to be able to stick to that because I'm not in favor of just rehashing things that I shouldn't be. This is just about the issues for me. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that.
Mr. Johnson has confirmed the allegations. I have nothing left to say.
That's that's ludicrous. I think that's it. I mean, I think similar to what Ms. Gomez Goldberg just said, that if we stick to the issues, I think it'll be difficult to separate us just on issues. I think, when you look at the district we're trying to represent, the issues that we want to cover are issues that this district deals with. But you got to look at character, and so for someone to just suggest out of left field that there's some deal being cut, that something's going crazy under the table. I don't see anything under the table, AJ. I think is ridiculous, and so we have to look at each other's character, and so to suggest that is crazy, and in my opinion should disqualify anyone from this race to just come out and just make things up.
Now, I was covering a lot of corruption in Mount Vernon. And it was like, oh, you don't know corruption till you get to Yonkers. That's what I was told, so I don't know what that was.
Hey.
Now, I'm just saying, that's what I was told.
They got a council person on both ends of the state.
No.
That's what I've been told, so, by several people, boy, you don't know corruption until you deal with Yonkers.
People refer to Yonkers as the city of all hills where nothing's on the level. But I have to differ to that. I think the city of Yonkers
I like that.
It's a vibrant city with a lot of passionate people, and it's such a beautiful, with the most beautiful waterways. And I think it's just people have the wrong misconception, and that's what we don't want to give here. You have 4 candidates running for the same seat, and each and every one of them brings something different and something new to the table. And that's what's important, that the people get represented, and let democracy ring. Let the people decide who they really want as their county legislator.
I want to applaud you for saying we have 4 people. Only 3 people showed up, and I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
I think that's important.
But what I'm just saying is, though, I did talk to everybody, and I didn't get that the person wasn't going to show up. And I just want to say to voters, though, you want to pay attention to the people that do show up. You want to listen to what they have to say, and then you want to make your decision. And if there are people that don't show up, you might want to take that into consideration as well. And that's just like, I can't tell you who to vote for in any of these elections.
I tried calling.
And I don't have a horse in the race because I live in Mount Vernon, so this doesn't affect me at all. You know what I'm saying?
We make policy for Westchester as a whole, so slightly.
Yes. Well, I mean, yes, but but I'm just saying. So I just it's the people that do show up and do, and I really haven't given y'all no real hard questions or anything. I've been known to grill people a little harder, but I applaud all of y'all for coming, for taking time out, and actually y'all all came individually, and I think most of y'all requested this. This is why I'm doing this. Like, this wasn't even my idea. This was y'all's idea to come together on one show. So I just want that to be said too. Like, I didn't have to. It wasn't kicking and screaming to get y'all here. Y'all requested this, so. I hope, voters have seen, pretty much people kind of have an idea who they're going to go with. And I hope that maybe this has confirmed your suspicions or your wishes, or if you had concerns about a candidate, it confirmed your suspicions, or, it helps you make more of an educated vote. Coming to the close of the show, I want to give you all 2 minutes to close out each and say whatever you want to say, how people can reach you, anything, why you are the person that the people should cast their ballot for on September 10th, 12th, right, 12th.
Well, AJ, the reason that we're here is because we have great respect for you,
Hey, thank you.
and to your credibility, and
Flat will get you everywhere. I just can't vote for you though.
We really no, but the fact that we're here is because we do believe in you. We do believe in you. We believe in what you're doing. We congratulate you. Thank you, Lorraine. And I just want to say, my name is Carmen Gomez Goldberg. I could be reached at Gomez Goldberg and Yonkers for GomezGoldberg.com. Facebook page is Carmen Margaret Gomez Goldberg, because they took the elect from me from Facebook, or somebody reported me, but now it's Carmen Margaret Gomez Goldberg. Okay, and Facebook, and my phone number is 914-610-9636. Thank you so much.
Now, before you go, I have to ask this question.
Yes.
It would be remiss of me not to ask this question.
Go ahead.
So when I'm listening to you, Carmen Gomez Goldberg. So Gomez is Hispanic,
Can I explain?
And Goldberg is what, Jewish?
Yes.
Not two names you normally see together.
No.
So
Let me explain. Okay, so Gomez is my father's name, which I never left. Have great respect for my father. My father comes from Luis Aldea, and I think, you know, a lot about Luis Aldea. He is actually, it's the African part of Puerto Rico. And I never wanted to drop my father's name because I'm daddy's little girl, sort of. And then I married into Jewish, and at the time, about 10 years ago, I let the children decide, should I change my name back to and just keep Gomez or continue my Goldberg name after the divorce. And my children decided, since they were all Goldberg, that I need to continue the last name Goldberg. And that's how it ended up, that I kept my father's name and I kept my Goldberg name because of my children.
That's very commendable.
Okay, Nicole.
I want to thank you so much, AJ, for having us, and thank you, Lorraine. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
consistently Lorraine is here.
Yes, me
In his absence, I'd like to thank Damon, who's been a force within the county as an advocate for justice on all fronts. Sorry he couldn't be here. I would like to say that voters should vote for me for all of the reasons that we spoke about this evening, but I ran 2 years ago, and I got 40% of the vote at
40%,
that
yeah.
time. I knocked on doors throughout the district, right even here where we are in Runyon Heights. I knocked on doors, and voters were very enthusiastic and welcoming of a newcomer on the block. I hope to continue knocking on doors and getting their support. And anyone who would like to contribute to help my campaign, they can donate on NicoleForYonkers.com, Nicole4Yonkers, F-O-R Yonkers.com. Again, my daughter made my website 2 years ago when she was 14, 15. So I want to commend her. Naomi, if you're listening, thank you. And
she also did your she did the artwork for your ad.
yeah,
She's the
she
one
does all my literature. So yeah, she's pretty good. So I just want to thank everybody, and if they could log on or volunteer and help knock on doors or donate, and no amount is too small. Again, it's NicoleForYonkers.com, and if they could come out and vote for me September 12th, I look forward to seeing them. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson.
So first, I have to say thank you to Black Westchester, to People Before Politics, for giving us an opportunity to speak to the voters of the 16th Legislative District, allowing them to have an opportunity to hear from us as candidates all together, because oftentimes when we hit a door or see somebody at an event, they only get our individual perspective. But seeing us here together, allowing us to challenge each other, I think is something that needs to be done, and it's special, and it gives the opportunity for voters to make a more informed decision. But to answer your question, you had two questions. One, why should the voters choose Christopher Johnson? So I've been a councilman in Yonkers for the last 6 years, representing a large portion of the county legislative district. So for those individuals who I have represented, it's been a pleasure. It continues to be an honor, and I hope that you give me an opportunity to serve you as your county legislature. To those that haven't had the opportunity, I've enjoyed meeting you at your doors and having conversation with you and talking about the issues that you feel are important to you. Hopefully, I've worked on some of them on the city level, and I look forward to working towards them on the county level. I am the only candidate in this race. In my opinion, that's a true progressive Democrat. I've never worked for a Republican, and even when I make decisions on the council, I understand their ramifications in the future. I don't make decisions for today. I make decisions based on the needs for tomorrow. And so we need to make sure that we continue to push Westchester forward in a progressive manner and direction that it needs to go. If you want to contact me, feel free at johnsonforwestchester@gmail.com, or you can visit the website, Johnson for Westchester, that's FOR, westchester.com. Check out the issues that we want to talk about. See the endorsements that I have from 10 different organizations, unions, and community groups. Check out articles that have been written about this campaign and the direction that we're going. And if you like all of that, then you can click the last button and donate to this campaign and make sure that we cross the finish line on Tuesday, September 12th. But most important, make sure you go out and vote. No matter which candidate you felt or you continue to feel represents you the most, make sure that you go out on Tuesday, September 12th in the Democratic primary and vote for that candidate. Hopefully, it'll be me and I'll get the opportunity to serve you.
Now, I have heard, Carmen mentioned it in a joke, I have heard some concern. You signed on to be county city council and you got 2 more years and now you want to leave. Maybe you should finish your term and the work that you started. I would like to give you 30 seconds or so to address that if you can.
I'm glad that Barack Obama left his term in the middle of his Senate term to become President of the United States. I'm glad that Andrea Stewart-Cousins left her term in the middle of her term to the county legislator to become a New York State Senator. I'm glad that Cory Booker left his term in the middle of his mayoralship to become a United States Senator, and I look forward to leaving, well, not to leaving, but to continuing serving just on a higher level of government. The reality is that this seat is open seat now, and so an opportunity to continue to serve at a higher level is open now. If Ms. Goldberg would like to pledge her support in 2019 to me, no matter who wins this race, then I'll take that and I'll take it into consideration. But anything short of that, I got to run now, or in 2 years there'll be an incumbent in this seat. And if they do a good job the next 2 years, then why should I run in 2 years? So run now while the seat is open. Take an opportunity now to continue serving and just serving on a higher level.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. And again, to reiterate what Councilman Johnson said, it does matter, but I'm not telling you who to vote, but I am impressing upon you to go out and vote. Your vote is very important. It's time that we, as black people and as brown people and Latino, black people, we need to learn something from the Hispanics. They're learning to vote in a block. Something that black people have still yet to understand the importance of. You know, that means when it comes to, you have to deal with all of them, you know what I'm saying, to get that vote in that community. You can tell us anything and, we just vote how we vote, because we're Democrat, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But the importance of voting in a block and the importance of, every other group of people tell the candidates how they want their city or county or whatever governed. We're the only group of people that everyone comes to tell us what they're going to do for us or not do for us, and we vote for them anyway. And then we get upset and we don't get what they promise. So I think we need to be more educated in who we pick, not just give votes away just because. Like I said with the Mount Vernon, I had a ticket on last week. I don't even believe in, if you like one person, you should vote for everybody on that ticket. If there was 3 seats in Mount Vernon for city council, and there's 3 different tickets, and you like one person on each ticket, then you need to vote for the best 3. And that's how I feel. And here, I can't tell you which candidate to vote for. I just can reiterate, look at the candidates that did show up. And the rest of that is up to you. But this vote. So
basically, one of these 3 are going to be coming back as a county legislator to People Before Politics.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I would love that. And that's why we do what we do. We're trying to expand more. People, because there was so much going on in Mount Vernon. People look at us as Mount Vernon Daily News, and that was never the intention of Black Westchester. We're getting more into the county. We're getting more into Yonkers, especially in this race, and even more in Peekskill, which it seemed like there's some stuff going on up there, too. So we're going to get to the bottom of that. They haven't met me in person yet, so I'm going to have to come there and introduce myself. But anyway, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name's... Oh, no. So, no, seriously, I applaud all of y'all for taking the time, seriously, to come here. Again, I applaud all of you and Simma for advertising in the first issue. And again, still got spaces available. this week if you want to advertise. Just give me a call. And just good luck to all of y'all. And I hope that, because I got to know some of y'all individually a little bit, and I hope the ones that don't win, I hope that I continue to see you fighting in the community. And I think voters also need to pay attention to that too. The people that don't win, what are they doing? Are they only doing things because they won, because they have a seat, or what are they doing without a title? You might want to watch those things too. You know what I'm saying? Not the guy or gal who comes to your church when they're running, but the one who lost that still comes to your church and worships sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that still shows up and fights for the little issues or whatever that's in your community that are important to you. I think that's another thing we need to pay attention to. We need to educate ourselves about this whole system and voting. And again, I can't say this enough. I'm saying until I'm a broken record. I ran into so many people in the 2015 election who I registered like 200-something people who had never voted between 18 and 25.
Wow.
Good job.
And
That's
several
good work.
of them were felons. And I educated them that they told me I can't register because I am a felon. I said, are you on parole? No. Are you on probation? No. And I have educated them that if you are a felon, you have a felony, and you are no longer on parole or probation, your rights to vote have been reinstated, but you have
That's
to register. If you have, and this is the other thing other people didn't know, if you have a misdemeanor, if you are convicted of a misdemeanor or serving time for a misdemeanor, it doesn't matter if you're on parole or probation or currently in jail, you have the right to vote.
Right.
But you have to register. So, we registered a lot of young first-time voters, and that is what benefited Richard Thomas the most, because the other candidates were going after that same pocket that they always went after, and we expanded the voting pool a little bit, and they went to the younger millennial candidate, and that's how Richard Thomas won. That's one of the reasons he won. So, think about that. I just like to educate people as much. I just say that as many times, because no matter how many times I say it, there's still somebody who goes, oh no, I have a felony, I can't vote. Like, I still hear that. I heard that 2 days ago. So I'm like, lastly, I didn't get a chance to ask y'all about it, and I don't have time for y'all to speak on it, but I just want to, I spent some time in Yonkers this week with a young man named Omi Medina, who is in bad physical shape, with a degenerative disease, I can't say that word right now, who is trying to get a first floor apartment or a building with an elevator.
Something affordable.
He's crawling up and down the steps to get up the stairs. His mother has died from this. His two sisters have died from this disease. You'll see more about it soon, because there'll be videos and stuff coming out about it. But Jesus says, what you do for the least of them, you also do unto me. And it doesn't matter how many people, how much money you got, and what titles you got. You can't be in a room with this individual that I was in and not have some kind of physical feeling, some kind of emotional feeling, to be blessed that, I'm not really in the best shape. I'm going to keep it real. I'm obese. I'm a little slowed down to what I used to be. But you know what? I have full use of my joints and my arms and my legs. I can walk. I can talk. I can hear. I can see. And, you know what? I feel blessed today that I'm able to be in that position. And there'll be more push to support him, and you'll hear more about it. And Lorraine is strongly behind this. But I think anybody, and his wife has called up here before, I think anybody who needs to just donate something so this man can have some semblance of quality of life for the time that he has, and can still be a father to his family, a father and a husband to his family. Now, I don't know how much longer he has and where that's going to leave his family when he's gone. But these situations touched me. I mean, it's really touched me. Like, really being in their living room, like, really talking. I mean, I argued with the constituent services. What was that?
Constituent services.
And what was the other one?
Disabled on the Move?
Disabled on the Move, and then the constituent services called me back and they said, "Oh, we offered her one bed. The Disabled on the Move offered her 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom with an elevator, and she turned it down." And I called them back, and they, one, did not offer it. Two, it had a service elevator that they not allowed to use.
What was
Right?
the point?
And then I called back constituent services again. I'm like, "Yo, what the hell?" And then they gave them a piece of paper for the Tuckahoe Housing Authority that had the words, "We are bold letters not accepting
application.
waiting waiting list applications." The hell are you giving these people that? And then gave them another page of a listing of apartments that were 4 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms and
With
2,500, and some of them had stairs, and one, they couldn't afford it. Two, that's not what they need. They need a 2 bedroom, like the Department of
Two or three? Two or three?
What's the Department of what? The Department of what?
Constituent services.
No.
Which one?
Disabled
on the Move.
Disabled on the Move. I'm disgusted with you. You have served no purpose.
Yep.
You lied to the constituent
Services.
And I got back to that lady, and she is now making calls to other places to see if she can do anything to help this family. But she was under the impression that you offered them a 2-bedroom apartment, and it got turned down. And then once I told you, you said you couldn't talk to me because of the family, or you tried to say you told the family something. I said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you. I'm at their apartment, and I'm on speakerphone." Then it was you know, you lost. You couldn't say nothing then.
Well, she said a lot. She said, "We're only a referral agency.
Right.
We're only a referral agency.
Then it was copping. It was copping a lot. It was copping a lot of pleas, and I don't know what your job is. And you know what? I learn this stuff the more I do these stories, and I'm about to look into more about what you're supposed to be doing and what you do for the people. Because I'm a little disappointed in what you and my interactions with you. And these families said that more stuff happened in that 2 hours. That up there, more stuff happened in that 2 hours. They got more incidents than in the last 5 months from y'all.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I said I'm not gonna let it go until it's done, until this family is taken care of. So everybody mark my words, I'm gonna be watching these situations. You could be doing anything else right now. You decided to ride with us. This is Black Westchester presents People Before Politics every Sunday, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. Until next week, we will have Mount Vernon Council candidates, Janice Duarte and Clive Isley, and who else is coming on? Somebody else. Somebody else is coming on. Somebody else. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
We have tentative people from Yonkers.
Yeah, we have tentative people. Virginia Perez or somebody.
Perez and Wilson.
Yeah, so possibly. So anyway, until next week. Peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.